Oh, yes. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, welcome to another edition of Man Cave Monday. And I am so excited to have you joining us again. This is episode 2 of season 2, and things have gotten off to a great start. Last Monday, we had the very esteemed president of Morris Brown College, Mr. Kevin James, Dr. Kevin James. And this week, I am so fortunate. I'm so excited to welcome a brother that I've known since, I think, the year 1999. When we attempted the first time to join Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated. Is a long story that I cannot tell right now. I'm not sure if the statute of limitations is up yet on that story, but his name is Joe Freeman. He is an educator and author originally from Belle Glade, Florida, but now resides in the capital city of Atlanta, Georgia. Ladies and gentlemen, Joe Freeman. How are you, sir?
Man, I'm doing well. First, let me let the people know that I am extremely thankful that you took the opportunity to come in and ask for me to share my story, man. So I really appreciate you.
Yeah.
I've always respected you, man, and I love that you create this platform that people can come in now and express themselves.
Bro.
They can hear the story behind it, and they can understand it. It's not overnight.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of dedication and hard work for these things to happen.
Yeah, well, I'm honored to have you on and just to know and to see, even from a distance, what you're doing out here in the world. And we're going to get into the whole background of what you do in education and how you have evolved even into an entrepreneur now and an author as well. All of that's coming up. I want to invite you all to, of course, stay connected with us. We welcome your feedback. Also want to make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel, Pastor O'Jermaine Simmons. Make sure you go out and find that. Of course, you can find us right here. You're watching live on Facebook as well as Instagram and Twitter, Pastor OJS. All right, so let's jump into it. The year is 1999. And like I said, you and I were Lion Brothers
Yes,
that first time around. And I knew you from that space, and even from observation, you were always determined, always focused. As y'all can see, always well dressed. He been sharp for 40 years. This brother's always been dapper, always a man of style, but certainly a man of great focus and drive and determination. And so, if I'm not mistaken, you came through the early childhood education department at Morris Brown as well.
Yes, I did.
And so what happens from there?
So I immediately started with Atlanta Public Schools. I started not far from where I live now, downtown Atlanta. 95% African American student base, high poverty. And I did that for about 6 years. I started programs there, Boys and Men Literacy Program, where I'm inviting men from the community to come in and talk about what kind of jobs do they do and how important reading is to them. After doing that for 5 or 6 years, I then migrated over to Buckhead now. So I'm still in Atlanta Public Schools, but I'm more on the north side now.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to find my lane there. So I said, what can I do to show my impact on this community that has so much? So I started a father-daughter dance, which goes on to this day, just to show, do something for my daughter. And let the men be involved, help them be involved. And then after getting my master's in educational technology, as I was speaking with the kids, they said, hey, we love robotics, we love engineering. We don't have that around here. And I said, whoa, you don't? Talked to another brother from Morehouse. He said, hey, let's get together. He had the science background. Let's get together. Let's start a program.
Wow.
The school believed in us, believed in me, and allowed us to start this program at F&F Dynamics.
So let's go back, and you all can see there the website fnfdynamics.com. Joe, what made you want to get into education in the first place? Because I was also early childhood at Morris Brown, one of the best early childhood programs in the nation that we came through. And shouts out to Morris Brown College. There's, of course, not many of us Black men in education, but certainly not in early childhood. What made you want to get into education in the first place?
Education, man, just the impact that educators had on my life. And then coming from the South, there's the teachers and the preachers and teachers. Sometimes you see so much of that,
Yeah.
and it's easy to go in that direction because that's the first contact. My family is full of educators. There's also that pastor background with a lot of my family members. So to go that direction was easy for me. And then I saw the impact of having a positive influence in your life all the time. And you can reach people that you wouldn't normally reach. So I wanted to be able to do that.
Wow.
Looking back now, I probably still choose education. I was going to leave the field if it wasn't for my wife. My wife was like, listen, after about 5 or 6 years, I was burned out. I was frustrated, wasn't making enough money. And I said, you know what, I'm leaving education. I'm going to get into sales. And my wife was like, she's like, your blessing is with kids. Don't waste it. You're not a salesman. You can sales things, but that's not what you were about.
Yeah.
And I listened to her, man. And she said, don't worry about it. The money will come. And you'll find.
Because we don't do this for the money. Nobody gets into education to get rich.
No, nobody does.
Yeah.
And so that one thing led into the other. And so after being teacher of the year, nominated for like 5 years in a row, and even been winning teacher of the year at my first school, and then leaving, going to my second school and winning over there. And so I said, man, what can I do to make an impact on these people, man?
Wow.
That don't normally see men like myself, 6 feet tall, 220 pounds. They don't get to see me, in this type of field.
Yeah. And when I graduated, I did my student teaching at Walter White Elementary over there on the west side, over by Douglas High School. And so, of course, when I get there, I'm the only black male who is not a custodian in the building. Even the PE teacher was a white woman. So literally the custodians were the only other black men in the building. So I got assigned 5th grade as a student teacher. And then that first year of actual teaching, I got 4th grade. Then I followed that class to 5th grade. But you're right, the need is so great. And to be able to impact kids, especially in that area that I taught, because my 5th graders were easily 11 or 12 years old. You can do the math on that, right? And so they had never been around a black man who wasn't the police or who wasn't, someone maybe from their community. But the impact that we are able to make as educators, man, it's priceless.
It is.
So you get to shift. You're shifted into another space. And so talk to us about where you are, now and how that whole shift worked out.
So now, 18th year in education. I'm over, 18th year. I am the math coordinator. I still teach 3rd grade, but I'm the math coordinator for kindergarten, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd grade teachers. So what I do is I meet with them, we go over the standards, the knows and shows, break that down. And I'm also able to show some other skills that I have as far as being able to speak to others and reach people on various levels. So that's one of the gifts that are lessons that we look over that I was lucky enough to be able to have. I can work with anyone. It doesn't matter your background, doesn't matter if you are from the north or the south. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And that's another blessing that I was able to use. And my love for math.
So I did a deep dive on you. Obviously, I had to do some research just to make sure I'm prepared for the show. But you mentioned, I read somewhere that you really have a heart for those, let's say, with autism or some learning disabilities. That autism thing jumped out to me when I was reading up on you. Talk to us a little bit about that.
For sure. My latest book, my 3rd children's book, Lucky Enough to See the World Differently.
Yes, sir.
My main character, Truesdale, and it's based loosely off of one of my former students.
Yeah.
And Truesdale, which means loyalty or honesty, the name itself, and that's why I chose it. People tend to think as soon as you are labeled autism, there's a deficit or there's a negative connotation attached to it. But I want to show people that, listen, man, these kids are not doomed. And some of our brightest and some of our best people are autistic and are high functioning. So in this book, in this story, he ends up saving everyone. He ends up saving people. I'm not going to give the entire story away. Yeah. But he wears headphones. And throughout the building, he has headphones on. So people think he's not listening because of the headphones. And what they realize is he's blocking out all that noise, all that surround sound, that noise that most of us, all that clutter that most
Yeah.
of us have to deal with. He's able to focus because he has these headphones to protect him and to block that out. And I wanted to say how lucky I am to even experience a child like this and to see a world like ours through the eyes of a child who's
Yeah.
autistic. And I wanted to share that, man. I said, what bigger impact? What way I can show the respect I have for this child and the amount of courage he has every day to go out through the world and to put it in a book and to show people, man, these kids are not doing it, man. These kids are lucky. And I'm lucky
Yeah.
enough to experience it.
That is major. That's dope. And I don't want y'all to miss this. Right now you're looking at again this graphic that just talks about this the adventures of BG, the whole series, because it's a series
Yeah.
of books. And so y'all can go on Amazon.com and check that out. You can look under Joe Freeman as an author, or you can look specifically for the adventures of BG. But I want y'all to go out and support what this brother is doing, because it is major what he's got going on. So that's the third series. I'm sorry, that's the third book in the series.
It is a third book, yeah. And this one, so the first one that started all off about 7 years ago.
Hmm.
This is the Adventures of Beach. Again, I'm from Belgrade, so I had a guy approach me. He was from Bulgaria. He was like, "Oh, the Adventures of Bulgaria," and I was like, "Not exactly, but you can use it for that." This is Adventures of BG, and it started with me talking about my friends and moving from one city to the next, and having to adjust and having enough self-esteem to believe in myself to be able to make good friends, make good
Sure.
decisions. And so these people are real people, man. BG is me in the middle at 9 years old. This is Leon. These are kids that I grew up with. Leon is in
Yeah.
the Panama City area. He's a financial advisor now, doing well for himself. He's in law school at FAMU now. I have Manuel, who's a detective. He has no hair now. He's a little muscular guy. Manuel's a detective now. Still
Yeah.
talk to him about he's my daughter's godfather. We have Robbie. Robbie is a trauma surgeon in Trenton, New Jersey, doing well, family, first generation. And then we have Big L. Now, Big L is a character loosely based on my mother. My mother's name is Lisa. And we
Okay.
call her Big L. She's a short lady, big personality, big mouth.
Shouts
And
out
I
to
said,
Mama.
who wouldn't want to make their mom famous? So I said, you know what, let me put my mom in the book. Man. Let
Yeah.
me do that. And this story talks about the adventure. Every one of my books has an adventure. This adventure is in the Everglades. And this adventure is him actually going out on his own. And his friends he doesn't know the area. And so they follow behind him. He ends up saving them from this alligator. So I don't want to really tell too much of
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
story.
Y'all go to Amazon and get it. Y'all go get
Get it,
this
man.
series.
And yes, and all my books have questions, discussion questions, and vocabulary in the back. That's a school teacher in me. So that
Yeah.
parents can focus on that. And then my second book, Friendship at its Best. This is based off a student I had in my class also, a kid that had leukemia. So it talks about what leukemia is. It talks about how it affects the blood
Yeah.
and the event in the hospital. I went to visit this kid in the hospital, and he showed me that no matter how sick kids are, they just want to be kids, just want to have fun. They had a floor of kids having all this fun. They had the IVs in. They were still in such great spirit. And they even had to talk to me before I came in and say, hey, don't come in being gloomy, don't come in sad, because these kids are just happy to be alive.
Yeah.
And man, okay, so I had to check myself at the door. But that's a part of this book, man. And you'll see, I'm going to give you a little hint. You'll see that Big L's not on the cover. And so Big L is going to be one of the characters that's going to be going through something in the hospital.
Wow.
And it just teaches our kids, man. A lot of the kids think Big L's being lazy because she doesn't want to play soccer and things like that. But she's going through chemo. And so, yeah,
Bro,
she's going
this
through
is
chemo. So
that's
yeah.
major. That's major.
So just,
Yo,
a
go
lot of
get the
times I
whole
get this.
series.
Yes, man,
And
the suffering in silence.
I really want to talk to you from in that vein.
Yeah.
How important is it for our youth to have a male presence in their lives?
Oh,
You're a husband, you're a father.
yeah.
How important is it for kids to have a male presence? Shouts out to women, shouts out to mothers
Yes.
and wives, but how important is it that we be visible and present in a kid's life?
Listen, I love my mother, single parent mother. My father was just here. He went back to Miami. My mother's here now. My parents are divorced. I love my mother to death. But my father, certain things my father could teach me, or he's taught me, my mother couldn't teach me. There's certain things I learned from him without even me having to say anything. I just modeled what he was doing,
Yeah.
good or bad. And so to have a positive male influence in your life, doesn't have to be a father, doesn't have to be an uncle. It can be a mailman, it could be a big brother from the community, it could be a pastor, someone that knows and knows how to speak to our young males and know how to relate to them and let them understand. Like, you don't have to be perfect, but you will be tested, and you have to stay dedicated and focused, or you could be easily thrown off track.
Yeah.
You know, I think a lot of these kids think they have to be perfect, or they've been told so many times that no one's made mistakes. I'm here to show you. I'm a prime example of someone that has minimal talent, but I've outworked. I've outworked and will continue to outwork so many other people that just rely on talent and ability alone.
Yeah.
And so any of the kids I speak to, man, I just let them know, like, listen, you have what it takes. Look at my story. Look at me as an example. I am extremely transparent. You have it. You have what it takes.
Wow.
As long as you don't.
So would you say that one of the characteristics that a man should seek to have is work ethic? Yes.
Work ethic and honesty, man. Being honest with yourself and being honest with I think a lot of times what we do as people, as men, a lot of stuff that we do is out of fear. And so I'm gonna make you fear me because I'm afraid what's gonna happen to you if you leave here. You know, and so once you don't operate in fear, now we can be honest with these young people. You can be honest and say, listen, now I'm gonna show you, I'm gonna tell you what can happen to you. I'm not gonna beat your spirits down.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna try to intimidate you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest and transparent with you.
Yeah.
Because I care enough about you. Now, if I didn't care or I was afraid, then I'll put all these things on you where I got to monitor you and I got to keep my hand on you at all times. No. I'm going to open up and be honest with you and share it. Then I'm going to allow you to make some mistakes. And then I'm going to allow you to come back.
Yeah.
And so, and this is what I try to practice with my own kids. My son is 22 years old. He's taller than I am. He's a slim guy, but he's 22. And I just today we were working out. That's when we get our best talking and working out. And I'm just like, listen, you had some opportunities earlier on you weren't ready for. But you needed those things in order to be able to be ready for what you have tomorrow. You needed to go through those things. So now you'll be able to appreciate it. Yeah. I'm not disappointed. I understand you got to make mistakes. Yeah. And so let's continue to get back up and try it again. You know, there's no time limit on this.
Wow. That's amazing. And I think back to my first couple of years of teaching, because of course I would be in my 18th year had I stayed in it, but of course the Lord had other plans for me as far as pastoring or what have you. But I still stay connected to our local schools and always doing things for the kids. I think back on my first couple of years, and man, that first year, bro, 22 years old, them kids broke me in, right? Yeah. So of course they give me what they would consider to be the worst of the worst in the school, because I'm the only black male teacher and they needed some tough love. But man, that first day, that first week or so, I had my desk flipped over on me, like boy said, I'm gonna get my brother to come in here and kill you. Like, because before that day, they had never had a male, presence like me. Man in a suit telling me to sit down and be quiet or stand straight in line. Like, who are you? I had to earn their trust and earn their respect. They weren't going to respect me just because I was the teacher. They needed to know that I cared. Because as you know, a lot of people make promises to kids, but they don't always keep their promises. And so that honesty piece that you're talking about, being there for them, letting them know, man, my wife would tell you, because we were just married. I mean, those kids would be at our house sometime. We would wash their clothes sometime. We would give them grocery at times. Like, these are the things that the world probably doesn't know about educators. You are much more than just a 8 to 3, classroom teacher. You're a psychiatrist, a parole officer, a counselor, a therapist. You're some of everything to these kids. So I really appreciate hearing you express the way that you do. You can tell when somebody loves what they do,
Right.
because you're passionate about it, and it's not a
Right.
job for you. It's a
Right.
calling.
Yeah, and people, I'm funny you said that because people say that all the time. They say, man, you're so into it, you're so animated. I said, well, listen, one thing you'll learn about kids, if you don't, if you don't talk to them with such rigor, if you don't excite them, then they'll ignore you, and then they'll feel like what you have to say is you don't really mean it.
Yeah.
And so I want to understand. Listen, man, I don't want you to ever confuse anger for passion. I don't want you to ever confuse aggression for passion. I have a passion for our young people, and that which excites me, and which gives me energy in life, man. And that's why I knew I was in the right field. And when I look back on it, my wife said that because she could see that passion, that excitement. I come alive when I'm talking about kids. I come alive.
Yeah, it's coming through even in this conversation right now. Your energy is just,
Right.
yeah, for the kids. Tell me about more about FNF Dynamics, and what that initiative is all about, how it was birthed, and what it is now.
FNF Dynamics started with me as my business partner, Featherstone. He was already doing some science experiments over. He worked at a different school, so he was already doing some things over there. And he was like the only male black teacher over there. So I was keeping kids after school. Again, I'm at a new school, trying to make an impact, trying to show people that I really care. And so I would keep kids after school. I've had 10, 12 kids after school. And parents would buy the supplies, and we would do whatever they said. We want to do an experiment? Let's do it. We want to see how many pennies can an uncooked spaghetti noodle hold. Whatever you think, we'll do it. And the kids kept talking about him. They kept talking about me. One day he did a little tour, came by the building. And he came in my room and he just sat outside and listened. And he said to me, I said to a kid one day, I said, kid said, I can't do it. I just can't. I said, well, listen, who taught you that? I said, usually we're taught to give up as quickly as you do. And he said, what? He said, well, everybody gives up in my house. I said, well, you got to learn how to make a shift. I said, I have to retrain you. Well, some things you don't know, some things I don't know. But I put yet behind it. And he heard me telling the kid that, like, you don't know it yet. And it changed the way that kid saw things. And he was like, man. He said,
Wow.
what are you doing? What kind of program is this? What's going on? You doing all these different things.
Yeah.
And I said, it's really science-based. I said, well, in that science, we're dealing with character, too. So not only am I doing a social and emotional piece along with that science, but we're also getting into being honest and being disciplined and being all these things, right? Working through understanding sometimes you're going to struggle.
Yeah.
But you still you can struggle through the process.
Yeah.
So he approached me. We sat down shortly after. I said his goal was to empower kids. My goal was the same. And I said, well, let's get together. Let's come up with a motto. Let's talk to an attorney. Let's incorporate this thing. And let's start off by going back to the kids. He was like, what will our logo be? And I said, well, let's start off. Let's go back to the kids. And the kids, we said the first kid that comes up with the logo will always get a free t-shirt or a hoodie or sweatshirt, will be on the website forever. And this kid, man, Benjamin, came up with the logo. And you'll see that's a little character, my character here, he's wearing an FNF t-shirt.
Yeah.
It's the wing, it's two F backwards, the two Fs.
Yeah.
And it empowered this kid who was a shy kid that was good at art and wasn't confident about himself. And we put him out there to show that we cared.
These are real people in your book.
These are real people. This kid's in high school right now. And he's still getting sweatshirts and hoodies, and he's still getting t-shirts that have FNF on. His picture's still on our website. He's like 5'11" now.
Yeah.
And on the website, he's like 5'5". And it was born, man. And it started off very small, 4 or 5 kids, charging little or nothing. Now we had 171 kids. We do film and media on Fridays. Kids make their own YouTube videos, and they edit it. We teach them how to operate the camera. Thursday, we do a fundamentals basketball.
Yeah.
Getting kids that normally are not active, and kids that are coordinated challenge. They have a challenge of coordination.
Yeah.
On Wednesdays, I work with the 5th graders, and then on Tuesdays and 4th graders, like every day, except for Tuesdays, because our faculty meetings, but every day we have a program that are reaching kids, that are challenging them, and that are showing them. And we have more girls now. When we first started, we had maybe 1 or 2 girls. Now we have more girls. I have 20 kids in my programs each day, and I have a waiting list. And out of that 20, 15 are girls.
Wow.
15 girls that are going into the field of STEM or are interested in engineering. And I couldn't be more proud of something, man, that just started with a conversation. That started in the hall of the building. And
But that's purpose, though. You know,
yes.
As you can imagine, a lot of people come of all ages, right? Folks in their 20s, 30s, 40s, and they're still wondering what their purpose is.
Yes.
And I ask them all the time, I said, what are you passionate about?
Right.
What do you like to do? What would you do for free, no matter what? You know, what gets you out of the bed in the morning? And they go to describing it. I said, that's your purpose. You know, that's your purpose in the world. If it just involves you and it only serves you, that's not a God-given purpose. But if it somehow betters humanity, if it builds people, even if it's one person at a time, like you say, you started out with 10, 12 kids in this particular program, and it grew to the 100, almost 200 some children that you serve. So, you know, to anybody that's listening right now, watching right now, who's wondering what your purpose is in the world, just think about what you're passionate about and what you love to do. And then don't focus on money. Don't focus on clout. Don't focus on notoriety. Just focus on the mission. And before you know it, you know, God will put you in the path, I believe, of people that you're supposed to meet. You know, y'all two brothers just had a conversation in the hallway one day, and F&F Dynamics was birthed out of that. So it's, I don't believe in coincidences. Nothing happens by accident. And so if you live with purpose every day and just do what you love doing, eventually I think you're going to run into what you're supposed to ultimately do with your life.
I do too. I firmly believe in that and agree with you. Just to even see me walking through my neighborhood and see kids with my books in their hands. Our neighbor said to me, he had no idea I was an author. Or to be in the airport and you had a kid holding your book.
Wow.
They have no idea. I approached the kid and said, "Hey, you like this book?" She was like, "Yeah, I love it." I said, "Well, look on the back. Do you think the author looks like me?" And she was like, so it's maybe a little. I'm like, "Well, listen, I'm Joe Freeman. That's me." And to see the smile on their faces, man.
Yeah.
They had never met an author that looks like me. Had never met an author that sound like me. They never knew how I show kids, especially my boys, how important it is to keep a journal. Like this goes everywhere with me. This has some of my biggest and my smallest stories, but I write them down. So some of us are great storytellers. We just don't write them down.
Wow.
We don't write them down so somebody else tells our story.
You're helping a lot of people right now. I just want you to know you're inspiring. I mean, I feel inspired. I feel like a slacker, and I'm always doing something. But right now, talking to you, I feel like a slacker. This is what, you know, time management was all about, and you know, being intentional with what you do every day.
And even my phone has over 200 notes in my phone, because even when I'm driving, if it hits me, or even if I don't have I need to be able to write that down.
Yeah, it used to be stick-it notes all over the place.
Exactly.
Now it's notes in my phone. Yeah.
In my phone. It's a smartphone. Boom, I'm going to use it. Use it instead of just reminders. This is something that I need to get out, you know, and get down immediately. And to even record yourself. Tell the story. Record yourself telling the story instead of writing. You don't have time to write it down? You just say aloud what the story is.
Yeah.
And you can go back and fill it in. Like I'm finished. I've just finished my 4th book. Now I'm working on my 5th book now. This started out as an idea. My first book was an idea that was pushed by my oldest son.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm 3 books in, just finished my 4th. Like it's amazing how something that simple, that small can continue. You can just build on.
For the people who know us from back in the day, who are watching right now, this has got to be amazing for them. All of the Morris Brown clique, and you know, all of the bros, and of course, shouts out to the Zetas as well. But folks that knew you, you know, and to see where you have evolved to now, man, it is amazing. And I know I just keep saying it. It is amazing to watch the journey. I remember that car you used to drive. You had the dopest car on campus. Was it like an Acura Legend or something, right? It was close.
It was close. It was the Acura Figure, though.
It was that Street Fighter car, right?
Yes, I
Yeah,
couldn't afford the lead.
I
I
remember.
couldn't.
Yep, it's the Street Fighter car that you used to have to tear in between stages or whatever. But you was just the coolest dude on the yard, and to know that God has so blessed you,
Oh,
and given you the platform that you have right now. It's an honor for us to be able to talk to you again, y'all. I'm talking to Joe Freeman, educator and author. You can go on Amazon and search out his products here. He's got the third book that has already been published, The Adventures of BG, and certainly you'll be able to find the fourth and fifth when they come out. But this is somebody that we all need to know and that we all need to be connected to. So I want to shift a little bit as we get towards the close of the interview. We know where we are in the world right now.
right.
It's 2021. We made it through, gosh, what was had to be the roughest 4 years, in American history.
Right.
But one of the things that I thought was so unfortunate was the former president's choice of
Right.
education secretary,
Right.
and how she knew so little
Oh,
about education and had never even taught school a day in her life. But again, we thankfully, because everybody voted, shouts out to the voters,
yes.
we're now hopefully moving towards a better season. But what do you see as critical in education moving forward?
Me being in it for 18 years, we have a lot of amazing educators that come through education. And I'm choosing my words carefully and I'm using the word come through because a lot of times we can't hold on to those people. We can't hold on to the brightest and our best a lot of the times because of the way that education is funded. The way that money is, even the way that people view education. So
Yeah,
we need someone, and hopefully we'll have someone that understands how important it is to invest in good educators, especially as early as possible. Now you can throw money at a system and hoping that, hey, it will eventually produce something.
hmm,
Or you can understand and have people that respect the craft, that allow us to go in, dissect those standards, meet our kids where we are, and support us while doing that. Instead of pushing legislation that takes more money out of our pockets. And it's not about money, but we have to be able, we have families. As
absolutely.
a
We gotta
male,
eat.
we have to eat. As a male who's been approached numerous times to leave the classroom, they want to usher me away. Now
Mm,
my gift is kids. I want to work directly with kids.
right.
But most of the men that stay in education, they go into leadership or administration because they're almost pushed, and that's the way that you can make more money for your families. And I understand that you want to be able to provide for your families. We need someone that understands that our school systems across the country are suffering. Our districts are underfunded. There's just so many resources that are thrown at us. Or a program is implemented for 2 or 3 years without
Hmm.
anyone doing a study, long-term study on seeing the effects of it. So before the kids can even get used to seeing this type of program, the program is being now discontinued and something new is being pushed at our kids.
Wow.
So we need someone that understands what it takes to be in that classroom, to be in that building, and what huge responsibility it is to have people listening to you every day. Every day you are impacting someone's life
Yeah.
every day, and more than one person. So that's a huge responsibility, man. And hopefully the new administration can give us what we need as far as that.
Yeah. I hope so
Uh,
too. I hope so
I'm
too.
hopeful. I'm hopeful, and I'm going to continue to do my part to reach as many kids as possible. I will not allow any kid to cross my path, and I don't show up, and I don't greet them, and I don't acknowledge them, because
Yeah.
there's so many kids that are going through the system now that are ignored, that did that
I love
don't.
that. I love how you say that because you represent what is the model for, I would say, male leadership, but particularly the black male teacher, because
Yeah.
there's such a stereotype that people throw out there, or a certain stigma that's thrown out there that somehow if you work in early childhood that you may be gay, or that
Yeah.
only a certain kind of man. But You can be fully yourself, masculine. You're a man's man, but yet
Right.
you have the compassion, you have the patience, and you have
Yes.
the love, for children. And you're
Right.
certainly a model in that regard. And I'm hoping that those who watch this will be inspired, the men in particular, to, if not become a teacher. If you're a young adult, you're in school right now, you're thinking about what you're going to do, become a teacher. But if nothing else, spend time in some schools,
Right.
volunteer, invest your resources into the schools, because we know how it is, man. Schools are underfunded, teachers are worn out,
Yes.
underappreciated. So I'm grateful that you're presenting it in such a way that will inspire folks to involve themselves. We need more black men in
We do.
classrooms, and certainly to support programs like what you're doing at FNF Dynamics.
Man, I appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me. I want to be in touch because the next goal is this. We got a new superintendent in Atlanta Public Schools. I've been in touch with her. I'm doing it 30 for 30, 30 days of 30 men reading for 30 minutes a day.
Oh,
Now, I want to be able
wow.
to, yeah, I want to
Bro,
be able to, you hear it here
sign me
first.
up. Sign me up. I'm serious.
You're
That's major.
hear it here first. 30, 30 for 30, 30 days of 30 men reading for 30 minutes a day.
Wow.
We want to do 30 days straight. So I want to be able to start that here. You want me to do
Yeah.
30 schools for 30 days, for 30 minutes a day with 30 men.
Yeah.
And then I want to branch out. I got to come to Florida. That's the home
Come
state.
come on down. I mean, your home
Yeah.
state is waiting on you to
Yes.
come back.
So I'm
So
going to
we
be
would
reaching
love to
out, man.
have you.
I'm going to get it going. I think it can change the message that people try to say about us, and it can change what people think of our young people, how they see us.
Yep.
Everybody deserves to feel special, man.
Yeah.
Every person does. And so if you reading to a kid and acknowledging him or her and seeing themselves in books, man, and literature can encourage them, then I'm all for it. Again, that's
Hey.
one of those things, man. I set out, I said, what can I do? I love to read. I
Yeah.
love literacy. I love to be able to make an impact and reach out to kids. What can I do? You know what I can do? I can do 30 for 30. I can do 30 days. It's only
See,
30 days.
that's creativity.
That's
That's
only
on a
30
whole
days.
nother level. That's gonna be so dope, and I want to be a part of it. I will gladly be a reader, to come up there, because
Reach
I
out
want
to
to see what you're doing. When the world is less crazy and things open up again, I cannot wait to share that space with you. I want to make sure I remind you all again. This is Joe Freeman, educator, author, entrepreneur. Man, just doing awesome things out here. Y'all go on Amazon.com and get the entire BG series. He is out here really inspiring our young people, and they have become a part of his story. Now, I speak to a constituent. I speak to people who are givers.
Yes.
One of the reasons why I had this platform is so that we could highlight and support
Right.
the individuals who are doing great things out here. So I'm asking. Joe is not asking. I'm asking. Where can people invest or sow into what you're doing? If I wanted to be a financial support, where could I send that, or where could I sow? And we're gonna put it in the chat before this interview's over.
For sure. Please have people visit the adventuresofbg.com. You'll see that I do a scholarship, myself and my friend, one of the characters, Manuel, do a scholarship every year where we give $1,000. And it's from a 2.5 to 3.0. I graduated high school with a 3.0. Undergrad was like a 2.8.
Yeah.
Grad school was like a 3.3. But,
Understood.
yeah, I got a little bit. But I want to be able to reach those kids and men. These are for boys that are not there, that are not receiving all the scholarships. They're not quite sure, but have been accepted to college or a trade school. Want to get them a new suit. We want to get them shoes. We want to get them, not one of those capri suits that the guys are wearing that you're wearing to the prom. No. We want to get your business suit that you're business savvy and ready. We want to get your $1,000. We want to start you off the right way.
Excellent.
So adventuresofbg.com.
All right.
It's a great place to start. We take donations there.
Okay. What's the Cash App? What's your Cash App?
Cash App. The Adventures of BG is the Cash App.
Okay.
My Twitter is Joe Freeman at Joe Freeman. My Instagram is the Adventures of BG.
All right.
My Facebook is Joe Freeman.
Yeah.
But the adventuresofbg.com, please. You see
Okay.
all my information there. Reach out to my website.
Cool.
I can't leave without saying hi to some people.
Go ahead.
I've been supporting from the beginning. I want to give a shout out to Boston. I got to give a shout out to New York. These are places that people have flown me out. Trenton, New Jersey,
Home
Camden.
team. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
North Philly showed a lot of love. When we clear up, I'll be back in North Philly. I want to get a shout out. Mississippi, Biloxi, these people, these places, Atlanta, of course, Florida, of course.
Yeah.
Huntsville, Alabama. A lot of people are not paying attention. There's a movement happening in Huntsville.
Yeah.
And then I want to go overseas. I got some people in Nigeria. Bawuni, I want to say, I give Bawuni to my people in Nigeria, Lagos, Nigeria. I got to go to Ethiopia. Salam Demanish for my ladies in Ethiopia. Salam Demanish to my brothers. I want to go to Haiti because I got to do the Haitian.
Yeah.
Come on, yeah.
Do you have the Bahamas on that list?
Yes, I had the Bahamas on. The Bahamas is definitely showing a lot of support.
I've got friends in Freeport, Bahamas. We go down there at least twice a year, my wife and I do some ministry down there. I'm gonna hook you up with them too because they need that. Yes. And it's beautiful down there, so you can't beat that.
Yes, Jamaica. There's a school I visited in Jamaica. Marcus Garvey School in Jamaica. I want to give a shout out. They've been extremely supportive. So there's people that are behind me, and I appreciated my friends in Bulgaria, Eastern Europe, who I've never even been there yet, but they have my book there. And so,
wow, that's amazing. And shouts out to everybody that is now getting on board to support this movement that God has put inside of you as well. I want to make sure that we shout out Phi Beta Sigma fraternity.
Oh, sure.
Brothers are going to be jealous. TJ and Rodney in particular, because I've been trying to get them on the Man Cave forever, and they acting like they're too busy. So it just makes sense that my line brother be the first Sigma to come on to this show. I've had my dad, he's a Q. I've had my uncle, he's an Alpha. I've had a Kappa. The athletic director down at Alcorn State is a great friend of ours, Derek Horn, and he's a Kappa. So I've had all them other colors. But tonight is the night. And I'm so proud of you, brother. Thank you for agreeing to do this and taking the time. Shouts out to your family and just everybody that's behind you and on your team. Again, he is Joe Freeman, educator, author, out of Atlanta, Georgia, originally from Belle Glade, Florida. We are so proud of him and what he's doing. He is on the Man Cave tonight. Share this with somebody. Let somebody know that Man Cave Monday is back. This is season 2. This is my brother. Thank you again, sir, for coming.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank everyone for listening, man. Listen, you don't have to move fast to create movement. You don't have to move fast to be moving. And so you'll see that. You'll notice that I am creating momentum and I'm not even moving fast.
That's a line right there. That's a bar. He just dropped that and he just dropped the mic. Y'all, this is Man Cave Monday. We'll see you next Monday, same time, same space. Joe, appreciate you, brother.
Thank you, brother.